This video is to show the different techniques that I used with Photoshop, Blogger and PowerPoint during the creation of my magazines. So initially on Photoshop I learned very different skills, and one of them, I'll just go through them. One of them was to import images, so you could either do it through the file, or as I did it, you can drag and drop the file straight into Photoshop, and then it puts it in like that. And then one thing that you had to do was go to layer and then smart object, and then you had to convert it to a smart object, and then this made it so that you could edit it. So say if I wanted to select something, which I use the rectangular marquee tool, it's just for example, if I select that, I could delete that, but it says smart object. So what we do is we go to layer, raster size, and then smart object. That one didn't work before, which is strange because it did before, but there it is now. The smart object makes it so that it's directly editable. Like it said before, that error message came up on a lot of images that I'd done, and the one way of getting around it was just to rasterize it as a smart object, and then that's how it can be edited then. So that's how I edited the background, that's how I edited the model image in that same way, by using the smart objects. So then after that, you can, once you select a selection, you can delete it by just pressing the backspace button once you select a selection, and then to undo this selection you can press Command D, and then to undo the selection, if you don't like it, you press the undo the history panel up here, and then you just go back to the period in that time where you seemed it was fit to carry on. So then after that one, we can also use the eraser tool, which is another useful tool for getting rid of big areas very quick. So you can see there it's just really thin line, but if we use the square brackets, we can adjust the size of the brush for the eraser. So here I can easily rub out big portions of the magazine that I can just do easily. It's not the most finesse type way of dealing with it. Like, there's a lot of different ways to deal with cutting specific things out. So if we just go back in the history, so it's not that bad, if we can use this tool called the Magic Wand tool, and this selects pixels based on the same color around it, and there is the Magic Wand tool. So if I just select this red area here, the red around it will also be selected, and I can just delete that, and all of the red within that area that isn't bordered off by the white, there's obviously some red inside the letters there, which you can see when I delete it, they're still there. That's because the white borders it. It just deletes all the red within that selection. So after that, if I just deselect that there, my next is the way that I used to transform. So an example of this that I did was the barcode. The barcode, I had to transform it a few times to get the right image, and to do this I press Command T to get the free transform menu up, and from here I can just drag in the corner, and that'll bring up the height and width at the same time. I can press Shift and it'll bring it up in an equal manner with the same ratio, the same resolution. I can press Alt and it does it from the center point. I can press Alt Shift and it does it at the same ratio from the center point. So that's how I done a lot of my transformation when I was moving around. So then the next one, if I want to do one, I'll just move this out of the way to a small area over here, is the text tool. So for the text tool, we press the text on the panel here, and it's just loading. And if I just click here, it brings up the text. So if I just type in hello world, it brings up the text there, and now it's put it in its own little text box. It's in the layers panel here, which I'll get to on in a bit. So if we're on the topic of text, there's a lot of different methods you can go around. You've got the basic menu up here, which does the font itself, the type of the font. This isn't set here because you can get a bold or like different styles of it. This here is the size of the font, so that's how you change it up there. And this, I just change the font up here, by the way, if I just select that one there, for example. And it's also got the positioning, so you can put it on the middle, the right column, or the left column. And here is the color, how to color change it. And now for specific details, sometimes when you need to make it smaller or bigger, the spacing in the letters, you go to the character panel, which is in the panels menu. Which is over here actually. Yeah, it's there. So from here what we can do is we can adjust the spacing of the letters. If we just hover over the logos here, it brings up a little mouse icon with an arrow. From here we can space out the letters, and we can also, if it's on different layers, so if we go something like that, we can also change how far or how close the letters are from each other. I can just change that, there you go. So it's there, spacing out a bit more, the more I make it bigger, and then when I make it smaller, it goes right on top of it. And also you can do the basic stuff, like you can change the size of the text, you can change how like slanted it is, and then you can, there's a lot of different things you can do in this character panel that gives you much more freedom as opposed to up here. This here is the basic character panel that is used a lot by everyone at some point. However, this character panel over here is a much more advanced one, and is one that I used a lot in my front cover to get a lot of the spacing in the letters here right, just so that it all fit in a nice condensed area. So after the font, I had to do graphics. So see this, if I just go on the layer over here, Command T, and just go on this layer, Command T, and make this bigger. The black line there, that was through just making a rectangle, which you can do here from the rectangle tool area. And all you do is you simply click and drag however big you want it to be or however small you want it to be, and it creates this image over here for you, well, this graphic for you. And we can press Command T on that again, and we can transform that to any size we want to. We can change the colours by going down here and doing so, or the paint bucket tool is another one. And moving on to the next thing, it's about layers, and this is what I used a lot to get the depth of field, to see the names at the back. They were done by the layers panel. I had a lot of shifting and changing. And now what you do with the layers is, the layers here is whatever's at the top is whatever's shown at the forefront of the file, and whatever's at the bottom is at the background. So if you can see now the hello world, it's a bit contrasting on there. I'll just move that. A hello world is at the front, and it's clearly over the rectangle and the image that I've already put in. Whereas if I move the image of my magazine to the top, if I move to the top, it'll go over the two. So that's how I managed to get the layers in around that. Also, I could lock layers, which was useful because I didn't want to accidentally move stuff that was intricately put. So all this here, I intricately put it, and I didn't want to accidentally move it by clicking on the layer and destructing it. I could undo it, but it's just a much more simpler way of protecting what you've got and not messing around. So another, that's everything that I used on Photoshop pretty much. I used all the basic features just to get the main, just to get this working. So I didn't use anything majorly advanced. I just used the essentials that are in Photoshop to get a good front cover, contents page and double page spread for my music magazine. So moving on to the next piece of technology, it was Google Blogger. And this is what I have recorded all of my research and planning on, my evaluation and my updates all on. So when I'm going to create a new blog, a new post, sorry, I press the new post option over here, and then it brings this menu up. You can change the post title, so I can just change it to testing, for example, testing full stop. And then from here we can add text. Hello, this is my blog. And from here we can also do a lot of different stuff about it as well. We can change the size of the font. It doesn't give you an exact number, it just gives you, you know, vague, normal, large, largest. We can also change the type of the font, so it's a heading, a subheading, a minor heading, or it can just be normal, which is what I use all the time. We can change it to bold, italics, underline it, we can put a line through it, we can change the colour of it, we can highlight specific parts of it. We can also add links, and this is a hyperlink, so if I just put a random link here, say this Facebook link, then that link, when I press on it, will take me to this facebook.com website. Now, one that I did use a lot is the upload tool for the images. You choose a file, so if I just go to the, if I just pick any random file, so say this file, I can upload it to the Blogger. It'll take a while to upload depending on the file size. This one's quite big, but the images that I uploaded for my blog from the magazine were not that big, so I could add as many images as I want to in a very short amount of time. So after this image loads, I'm going to show you how I embedded content onto the blog. And this is through I use this for SlideShare, for YouTube, for lots of different stuff. So once this file finishes loading, I press Add Selected. There you go. I press Add Selected. There it is. And once you click on the image, it highlights, and you can change all the different properties about it. It can be a small image, you can have it original size, so it's the full length. You can put it on the left and the right of the image as well. So that's it for the images. So you can make them all different sizes, and you can place them on the left, the center, or the right. So then after that, I'm going to run through how I embed videos onto the blog. So I do this by you have to get an embed code. So I'm going to go on this YouTube video I uploaded for one of my answers, and you just get the embed code, you copy it, Command C, and then you go in HTML format, and it brings up this looking like scary looking code almost, but it's not. You just go to the end or wherever you want to place it, paste the code in, and then publish, and then go back onto that post, go into Compose, and then the video is there and it's ready to be viewed through the browser, through the software even that you use. So it's either SlideShare for me, examples, or YouTube. And then to view an old blog, you go onto any of them and you just click on any of them. So if I just go on all images, this one, you can update it, you can type, you can change whatever's on it, and you can change the content within it. And then to view the blog fully, you go onto My Blogs and then View Blog, and then it brings up the blog, what it would look like as an actual blog as opposed to the edit. So this is what a non-signed in user would look at, someone who isn't logged in on my account, and it brings up all of the same stuff just on a different format. So that's it for Blogger and Photoshop. Now let's move on to PowerPoint. PowerPoint is what I used for some of the scripts of my videos that I've had to do for this evaluation. So if I just bring up a random one, to create a slide, you just press Shift Command N, and that you can make as many slides as you want, or you can right click, or you can press a button there, new slide. You can add images to it by clicking and dragging them on, just like I did before. So if I minimize that, we can drag that on there and it'll bring the image on it. We can add text to it, we can change the text, we can change the size of the font. This is all I've done. I didn't use the animations of the transitions because I didn't need to use them at any point really, so I just wanted to keep the simpleness of the PowerPoint just to be professional looking.